This is David Harper with Multiversity Comics here at New York Comic Con with John Layman and Rob Guillory from Chew. How's your guys' con going so far? I'll start with John.
Pretty damn good. I'm not even hungover today, so I'm doing great.
It's been awesome. We're selling this gigantic book, and we sold most of them.
It's the Smorgasbord edition, Volume 1. It's beautiful. I've seen it. And, yeah, are you guys going to be selling this past the con?
This is a limited edition cover, Bloody Red Tony, where the standard edition is eating a finger clean black Tony. So it's a little something special for New York people coming to the show, and then if you buy a signed and numbered edition for $150, you get that. But this is the rare cover.
Okay. Well, I have one question to start, and it's the most important question I'm going to ask all day, and it's, in Chew 37, Savoy still has his monocle in prison.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen?
It never falls out. I mean, he got beat up, and, it never fell out. It's never going anywhere.
So it's not prison issue, it's actually legit. He walks in with that, and they're just cool?
No, he doesn't have an eye.
He doesn't have an
There's
eye?
no eye there.
Okay,
it's just a monocle.
Super glued.
Okay, so I was reading that comic, I was like, I gotta ask about that damn monocle. Savoy always has that thing. So you guys are at issue 37. That just came out. You guys are going to issue 60. Is that still it? Is that still the plan?
Yep. Yeah.
So
It's getting closer. It's getting scary.
it is pretty scary. I'm starting to think of a world without Chew, and that's, I don't like it. So one of the things I have, so you guys obviously have a very comedic tone to your book. But then I was reading issue 36, and you guys made me really sad when Tony was waving goodbye to Sage. That was you really sold that moment well.
That's actually one of mine. There's a few moments, that moment and another moment very similar to it in issue 30 where you see Tony with an eye in the mirror, and she's looking at herself and she's sad, but she toughens up. Those moments are my proudest moments in the book.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean that moment made me sad too, but I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. I was reading that, and I was having a palpable response to it. I was like, what are you guys doing to me?
Good.
Well, I've said for a while that 36 was my favorite since 30, and it is emotional, and you get a little misty, reading it. So it's weird because I don't think I think 37 is a better issue than 36, but I liked 36 better for that for that reason.
Well, I guess what I was going to end up asking, though, is you have this comedic tone. People really, really like, oh, man, Chew is a hilarious book. How do you balance, the emotions of stuff that's starting to happen now that you're getting into the latter half of the series?
Well, part of it is the fact that you've just, gotten to know these characters. You're invested in them. You're the one who's, you're the crybaby. Don't blame me, dude.
How dare you, Layman?
It's your fault you care. But yeah, you know their personalities, you know their relationships, and you've kind of grown with the characters, and now you're getting emotional payoff.
Yeah. And it was kind of a slow burn because we went the first 15 issues, actually 14, without knowing anything about Tony.
Right.
But then 14 you meet oh hey, he had an ex-wife.
Yeah.
What happened to her? And then 15 you find out oh, he has a kid. There's all these little. We started getting emotional, and when those issues came out, I knew this is when we're gonna get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're really getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
What was also cool was Tony, life kicked him around a lot. He wasn't very proactive. He was reactive, and then after he's knocked out and all these bad things happen, he comes back in 31 and he's kicking ass. You're with him. Oh, yeah. You're cheering because you've seen him grow, and you're finally, he's not taking it anymore.
Yeah, I really love seeing him kick ass. It's great to see the aggressive Tony who wants to go and get retribution for Tony. Right. Tony with an eye.
But he's also arguably starting to go a little too far, as well, and that that's intentional, and that's being addressed as well.
Well, I love seeing the Chew family in its whole. I mean, it's really cool seeing that a member of Oni Press is a member of the family. That is totally great. I love that. But as you guys have moved along, has it always been the plan for the Chew family, Charlie, Chow, everybody, to be an important part of the series, to really form the backbone?
The pitch doc had Chow extensively, and I knew he'd have a big family, and Tony is closer to certain characters. Even though he hates Chow, he's close, and you see more of Chow, you see more of Tony. You don't see, there's Harold, You know, there's the grandfather, there's Sage. You know, there are some siblings you're not that close to. You know, so they get touched on. But you know, you're not gonna. You're gonna know some members of the family, like Rosemary, the sister who's raising, Olive. You don't see much of her other than she got a kid dumped on her, and 15 years later she's kind of pissed.
Totally understandably. Well, 37 had some of my favorite Easter eggs yet. I really love the food love issue of Layman that's coming up. That's gonna be, I'm sure it's gonna be beautiful and a big seller at the next Comic-Con, whatever that is. And then I really love the Devo hat, which was super random.
That was very random. I kind of threw that in because we based the food porn guy on Andy Warhol.
Oh, really?
So I automatically in my brain just went well, all of his groupies should just be weirdos.
Yeah.
For some reason, Devo hat popped into my head, and he's only in it for 2 panels. But I like that too.
Yeah, I love that the guy with the Devo hat has come up to beat his ass.
Yeah, exactly. I think he had suspenders too. It just made no sense at all, and it made me realize after we finished, we both went back. We were like, this issue's way weirder than we remember. And then you add in the ghost elements of it, and it was a weird issue.
When I was writing it, the main thing is it's one of those sitcom movies where you can see somebody that no one else can, and so you're the crazy one. Yeah. And that was the premise, but everything around it made it weirder. And then the food porn was something we had been holding on for a long time, and it was finally it's time to use this one.
Well, it actually fits really well, the Devo hat, because I actually only collect comics that have Devo hats in it. So it really, finally, I'm building up that collection, and it's been a while since ROM, so that's where it's really popular. I have to ask, do you guys, is that all you? Are you just slipping them in, or is it kind of a collaborative effort? I mean, I know the idea of sexy Kirkman pictures in that one issue is you.
Yeah. I mean, most of that is Rob.
Yeah, his tend to be very specific. He'll say it's a butter sculpting contest. So hey, a butter sculpture of the South Park character Butters. That's a good idea. It's going in there.
Why would I ask for a 2-panel henchman to wear a Devo hat? That would add nothing to the story.
Most specific script request I've ever seen ever.
I mean, it's usually all that stuff. The silly stuff is just kind of reinforcing the ridiculousness of the world we're creating.
Yeah.
It's there'll be an FDA sign that says FDA, we kick babies, or something like that, which is just off the cuff, but enforces the FDA are assholes, and in this world it's just everything's over the top.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff that comes to me.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, and you probably can't reveal this, is there anything that no one's ever caught? At all? Oh, yeah? Oh, maybe they just haven't brought it up. Maybe I know them all.
I mean, usually what I love about this is it's kind of like Easter. It is Easter eggs, but it's kind of hiding presents and waiting to see who's gonna get it. And every now and again, one guy hits me. He's like, "Hey!" I'll have a little TV screen with Red Fox or something on it. Yeah. Somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I saw Red Fox was the only guy who saw it. One guy,
I think people will be seeing stuff you can see it much better in this.
You mean
book.
in the big pages and everything?
The Easter eggs show up much more clear, and then this giant thing. I mean, they do from the Omnivore, from the comic, but then to this, it's a whole nother wow, I forgot about that one because it's kind of in your face. Yeah.
Buy the Smorgasbord edition so you can see all the Easter eggs. Now, I actually have a piece of paper specifically for one main thing. Irascibo Pictaurus. That's the latest one. That's the man who makes his erotica out of food. How do you guys come up with it? Are you just
Latin? It's Latin and Greek root words, and that's the kind of the only research I do. I know, okay, this is food creation and erotic. I take the two words that basically mean what it says it is, and then find the right words to make it sound kind of funny, but also it's not easy to pronounce. Yeah. And then that's put it together. And sometimes at the 34 where there were 12 people with powers, that took me literally all day. Yeah.
Food porn guy was one of the few that actually had an inspiration. We were at a con, maybe in New Orleans or something, and a guy came over, and he's a food photographer. Yeah. And his wife is the prepper. She makes sure all the pastries are fluffy and all that, and we instantly thought food porn. She's the fluffer and he's the dirty porn guy, and immediately we were we're using that, and we finally got to use it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so with all the powers and everything like that, you probably can't tell me whether or not there's going to be an explanation for that eventually, like where all that stuff's coming from.
I'll tell you there's not.
There's not? All right.
I mean, like superhero comics, I guess part of the convention is they have to explain the origins. But this is just a world where different people have food powers, and that's just the suspension of disbelief you're going to have to live with.
So radioactive sandwiches aren't falling on people or anything like that?
There will never be an explanation that satisfies. You know, everyone loved Y the Last Man, but when it got to finally explain, you're like, oh, okay, well, cool. And not that was bad, but almost leaving the mystery. You can never explain it because it's not real. You know, so there's nothing I have that will be brilliant enough than you imagining that I did have something brilliant.
So I guess last question for you guys. One of the cool things about you guys is you look at the industry and there's always.
Of the cool things?
Okay. There's like infinite of them. There's all these people working in comics, and quite often there's like really quick turnover in creative teams, things like that. But you guys seem to keep the magic alive. You guys seem like you really don't just enjoy working with each other, but also, you guys enjoy each other generally. How do you guys keep that the collaborative process fresh and like, I don't know, what is the magic behind Chew?
Well, I think we both hate flakiness.
Yeah.
And like he's been in the industry long enough that he's seen a lot of it, and I've been a fan for a long time, and I hate it. Like I had tons of books, Battle Chasers and whatnot, that like I grew up with and loved, but like was ultimately like massively disappointed. And I have a lot of respect. All the guys I respected were the guys that stuck through it and like had a complete vision, and like they weren't seduced by like, oh hey, I'll go draw this book because like they're paying me all this money. We have a consistent vision. Like our vision is like to have this complete, this pure thing, and there's just not a lot of that in comics.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me, that's what makes it working together like easier and doing this month after month after month.
Like a shared vision.
Right. Like I want this thing. Yeah. Like, and whatever I do from here doesn't really matter because like I got this.
Yeah. The thing is, being longtime comic book readers, you learn from, others' mistakes.
Yeah.
And like, how great would the Mark Miller, Frank Quitely Authority run be if it wouldn't have been interrupted? And I mean, not that Chris Weston isn't great. I love Chris Weston, but like, well, no, Chris Weston did these, fill-ins, right. And it screwed up the momentum. And what we learned from that is, you don't want fill-in artists. We don't. We would rather be not quite monthly, and still, every issue is going to count. Vertigo does that. They have to be monthly because of the corporation. So every once in a while, you'll get a fill-in issue, and the team will try to do its best, but it breaks the consistency. Whereas we own it, we can do whatever we want. If we need to take a month off to keep it consistent, we're gonna.
Well, absolutely. Well,
the readers understand that because they're not going to get a piece of crap, filler issue. Every issue, is going to count.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have with the team of Chew. Thank you guys so much for chatting with us. We really appreciate it. We know you guys are busy, so. Multiversity.